Namaste. I'm Rishabh, and in this episode, we continue our journey into the world of tals or rhythm cycles in Indian classical music. In the previous episode, we spoke about teen tal, the 16-beat rhythm cycle, extremely common. In this episode, we talk about Ektaal, one of the most common 12-beat rhythm cycles. So you have to understand that in this channel, we're not trying to go into a lot of detail. We're not musicologists, we're not scholars, we're just mere listeners, we're connoisseurs. And what we're trying to do is that we're trying to upgrade our listening ability so that we can appreciate music better and better. We're not necessarily trying to learn how to play or sing. So, according to me, I may be completely wrong, you may have a different opinion, but I don't think there's a need to go into the nitty-gritties and the very basic details of every tal that we're discussing here. So quickly going over the basics, when I clap, it's called a tali, and when I do this, it's called a khali. And a tali, a clap, signifies a place of weightage or wazan in the tal, and khali signifies emptiness. So similarly, ek tal sounds something like this. If you count it out using numbers, it will sound something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 1. So right off the start, you may be able to tell that if we were to recite Ektaal in the theoretical manner, it would be quite complex because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 1. So the tali would be on 1, 2, khali, 3, 4, again a tali, 5, 6, khali, 7, 8, and then two talis, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then coming back to the sum. So first beat. Now again, the beauty of Indian classical music is that not everything has to be super theoretical. And hardly ever will you find great maestros and great ustads and pandits and even great connoisseurs who will count out each beat of Ektaal by hand. Rather, most commonly, you will just see them count out the talis or the claps which fall on the first, fifth, ninth, and the 11th beat. So commonly you will see them do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 1. Hardly ever will you see them count out every beat. And as we spoke about in the previous episode about Teen Tal, even Ek Tal has its own bowls, has its own lyrics. It's not just numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Ek Tal has its own bowls, which go something like dhin, dhin, dhage, tirkit, tu, na, kat, dhage, tirkit, dhi, na, dhin. So let's try and put the bowls into the tali khali that we just discussed. So that would sound something like dhin, dhin, dhage, tirkit, tu, na, katta, dhage, tirkit, dhi, na, dhin, dhin, dha. This keeps going on and on because it's a rhythm cycle. So you yourself may have come to the conclusion that at faster tempo, you can't count every beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It gets very confusing. So at faster beats, practically, as I just said, we just count out the talis. Something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. Or dhin dhin dhagatika tu na katta dhagatika dhi na dhin dhin dhagatika tu na katta dhagatika dhi na dhin. Again, as we spoke about in the previous episode, Ektaal too has a way how you're supposed to recite it. This is called Paranth. And this way of reciting the intonation on each bowls is the exact way how the tabla players play it. And this intonation or the way of playing on the tabla comes from the baya or the left drum, the bass drum, which you can modulate with the base of your palm. Because the right drum is pretty much fixed on the sa or ga or pa, most commonly the sa or the tonic. So you can't really modulate the right drum. The left drum you can modulate with the base of your wrist. So the Paranth, or the way how you're supposed to recite Ektaal, would sound something like this. Dhin dhin dhage tirkit tu na katta dhage tirkit dhi na dhin dhin dhage tirkit tu na katta dhage tirkit dhi na dhin. So if you ask me, it goes in waves, and this wave is created by the bass drum. Dhin dhin dhage tirkit tu na katta dhage tirkit dhi na dhin dhin dhage. This you will never find in the books. The books just mention the bowls. Dhin dhin dhage tirkit tu na katta dhage tirkit dhi na dhin. You will not get to know where the tali is, where the khali is, where the sum is if you just recite it like a robot. And hence books and YouTube videos can never replace the position of a guru in our lives. Since we're here to just learn how to listen and appreciate music, we're trying to make do with, YouTube videos. So coming back, even reciting a particular tal, in this case Ektaal, has a particular method to it. Dhin dhin dhage tirikit tu na katta dhage tirikit dhi na and dhin. So let's try to ourselves break down Ektaal in this video which we've covered in a previous episode. So this is Ustad Shahid Parvez with Pandit Kumar Bose on the tabla, and Ustad ji is playing Rag Hamsadhwani in Ektaal. Try and spot the Ektaal. I will not say anything, but I'll just put the numbers up there so that you can at least get a sense of the rhythm cycle, where 1 is, where 12 is, and from where we're coming back from 12 to 1. So that was an extremely brief but a very practical take on Ektaal, the 12, one of the most common 12-beat rhythm cycles. If you want me to go into more detail, please do mention in the comment section down below. Like, share and subscribe. I'll see you in the next episode with a new tal. Guess which one it's going to be. And with that, I'd like to conclude this one. Namaste.